born in the 60s, has an aerodynamic body. It captured the essence of the space age. With an 8-speed automatic transmission, what kind of concept car do you think it is? Stay tuned to find out what the answer is. Here are the futuristic American concept cars of the past. Number 10. This is the 1963 Ford Seattle 21. Fittingly, the 1963 Ford Seattle 21 made its premiere at the 1962 World's Fair in New York and is regarded by many as one of the most influential concept automobiles ever. First off, the Seattle 21's design was reminiscent of 1950s designs due to its extraordinarily long wheelbase, which could accommodate 4 front wheels this time. The car's back bumper was shaped like an inverted triangle and had 4 massive exhaust pipes that looked a lot like jet engines. The Ford Seattle's true magic was found inside, as its engine and cabin were crammed with cutting-edge technology, even if it didn't look like a vehicle from a science fiction film. At number 9, we have the 1963 Chrysler Turbine car. Unquestionably one of the most avant-garde ideas of the 1960s, the Chrysler Turbine car of 1963 stands out in a way that most other designs do not. Even though it was a future interpretation of automobile design, the vehicle nonetheless had a lot of similarities to mass-market models from the era. The concept of svelte lines uniting the front and back is carried through to further design features like taillights reminiscent of jet engines. The gas turbine engine of the Chrysler Turbine car was, however, its most notable feature. As with the GM Firebird 2 and the Chrysler Turboflight, this distinguished the idea from traditional internal combustion engines and allowed the vehicle to run on a range of fuels. With its remarkable quickness and power, the turbine engine was intended to deliver a quiet and comfortable ride. The Chrysler Turbine car showed the promise for alternate propulsion systems in the automobile industry, despite the drawbacks of gas turbine engines, which included high fuel consumption and intricate maintenance needs. Coming in at number 8, we have the 1951 GM LeSabre. The automobile that most closely resembles a fighter aircraft is one that was introduced early in the decade and was a major component of the 1951 GM LeSabre's concept. The 51 F-86 Sabre was one of the leading aircraft of the jet age, and it was this aircraft that gave rise to the name of the luxury automobile that was first suggested as Henry Earl's personal vehicle. The 1950s saw American automobiles break new grounds in terms of size, and the LeSabre idea perfectly captures that. The F-86 Sabre's famous design is incorporated into the LeSabre's front-end grille, which has a flowing external appearance similar to that of the vehicle. The LeSabre was intended to be a practical road automobile even while it made a daring, avant-garde statement. A 3.5-liter V8 engine under the hood produced 335 horsepower and 381 pound-feet of torque, which, given the size of the vehicle, was rather remarkable for its day. At number 7, we have the 1953 Chevrolet Corvette EX52. The Chevrolet Corvette will always be in the upper half of the list when it comes to the most significant American automobiles. While other American automobiles were getting bigger, the first ever Corvette concept, the EX52, caught the public's attention right away with its sophistication, elegance, and design cues from the 1930s and 1940s. The Corvette EX52 made its premiere at the GM's Motorama car show as a dream car. Because the EX52 prototype was so highly regarded, the first Corvette production model was essentially kept unchanged from it. In fact, the model was put into production just 6 months following its debut. Equipped with a 235 cubic inch inline-6 engine, which was formerly known as the Cougar, the name was then changed to the Corvette prior to the first full-scale model being displayed at the Motorama in 1953. 150 horsepower and 223 pound-feet of torque were generated by the engine. Here at number 6, we have the 1961 Chrysler Turboflight. The 1961 Chrysler Turboflight is one of the few concept automobiles that perfectly captures the futuristic design concepts of the early 1960s. Like the most iconic ideas of the 1950s, the Turboflight embodied the spirit of the space age with its streamlined and aerodynamic form. The automobile had a unique glass bubble canopy that raised automatically when the door handle was pulled, and it had a substantially smaller front end with fewer features to maximize ventilation. The Turboflight's distinctive vertical tail fins, which joined to form a distinctive rear wing, were another important component of its design. This design decision significantly improved aerodynamic performance in addition to adding to the car's futuristic appearance. A state-of-the-art gas turbine engine propelled the turboflight, underscoring its cutting-edge and innovative design. At number 5, we have the 1957 Ford Nucleon. The 1957 Ford Nucleon was a vehicle that completely changed the course of the automotive business. With its tiny nuclear reactor providing enough power to propel the Nucleon 5,000 miles without refueling, the concept is still cutting edge even by today's standards. Similarly stunning is the Ford Nucleon's design, which features never-before-seen proportions. The Nucleon was originally intended to be 16.7 feet long by 6.5 feet broad and 3.5 feet high, according to Ford. If this had been the case, the Nucleon would have been just 2 inches shorter in length than the McLaren Speedtail and slightly shorter in height than the most current legally available Ford GT. Now at number 4, we have the 1954 Lincoln Futura. Returning to the huge full-sized automobiles that defined the 1950s, the Lincoln Futura represented the pinnacle of what Lincoln was capable of, as well as the direction they expected automotive design to take in the future. The inspiration for the '54 Lincoln Futura is possibly one of the most unusual, with designer Bill Smith gaining the idea after diving with sharks. The Futura's tail fins remain as wild as ever, and the car's design incorporates sharp, harsh edges throughout. Another notable aspect of the automobile is its all-glass roof, which takes the form of a fully panoramic double-dome canopy. The Futura was equipped with a 368 cubic inch V8 engine that produced 300 horsepower and 402 pound-feet of torque, as well as a cutting-edge push-button gearbox. The Futura was most notably used as the Batmobile in the 1966 film Batman. At number 3, we have the 1954 Ford LaTosca. The 1954 Ford LaTosca is another 1950s concept automobile that drew significantly on the jet age. The LaTosca, like the Lincoln Futura and the GM LeSabre, follows the classic full-size philosophy that dominated the United States at the time, but it also features innumerable original design elements that truly distinguish the Ford concept car. The front grille and canted tail fins of the Ford LaTosca are 2 examples of how the car emphasizes triangle forms. Additionally, the reversing lights were made to resemble fighter jet tubes. In terms of how the LaTosca was actually moved, a remote control was used. It should come at no surprise that the concept automobile was never put to use. Its sole purpose was to demonstrate the future possibilities for the sector. Coming in at number 2, we have the 1956 GM Firebird II. The '56 GM Firebird II was unquestionably one of the most avant-garde concept automobiles of the 1950s. With a distinctive, aerodynamically oriented body and turbine engine that could run on a variety of fuels, including gasoline and kerosene, Firebird II pushed the frontiers of automotive design and technology like nothing before. A navigation system that could follow an electrical wire placed in the road was one of the sophisticated technologies displayed by the Firebird II. The Firebird was as near to a rocket ship as a car could go, and like other concept automobiles from this decade, it was heavily influenced by the space race and jet age. Finally, at number 1, we have the 1956 Oldsmobile Golden Rocket. The 1956 Oldsmobile Golden Rocket, as its name suggests, was designed to capture the greatest elements of both the jet age and the space race. The Golden Rocket was smaller than other concept automobiles of the decade and was designed purely as an experimental vehicle, with aerodynamics being its primary area of research. The rear bumper, which has 2 silver domes on either side and overall shapes the design in the shape of a bullet, is the part of the automobile that most closely resembles the rockets of the 1940s. The Golden Rocket was propelled forward. Thank you for staying through till the end. Kindly like the video and subscribe to the channel if you like contents like this.